All right, let's dive in. Today we're going to talk about something that's on a lot of people's minds, body weight. Now you've probably heard that it all boils down to a pretty simple idea, calories in, calories out. And that's true. But figuring out the right numbers for you, well, that takes a little more work. So today we're going to unpack the tools you need to really understand your body's own energy equation.
It almost always starts with this one question, doesn't it? What is my ideal weight? You type it into a search engine, you ask a friend, and suddenly you're staring at 10, maybe 20 different answers. It's a really frustrating experience, and that's because the real answer is, well, it's a little more complicated than a single number. And that's the whole thing, right? There are so many answers out there. Between all the different formulas and all the advice you get, it's so easy to feel like you're just lost in a sea of numbers. But don't worry, we're going to clear all that up.
So here's the most important thing to remember. The answer isn't one magic number. Nope, it's actually a set of tools you can use to understand what's right for your own body. And to get started, we have to talk about the fuel that makes you go. Let's get into your body's energy budget.
The currency for this whole budget is the calorie. Or, to be super technical, the kilocalorie. Think of it as the unit of energy that's locked inside the food you eat. Your metabolism is basically the process of unlocking that energy to power everything, and I mean everything you do.
Okay, so you eat, you get these calories, but where do they actually go? What is your body doing with all that fuel? Well, it's constantly spending that energy, 24/7, even when you think you're not doing anything at all. Let's break down where it all goes.
Take a look at this. This chart shows how that budget gets spent every day. And for a lot of people, this is a real eye-opener. The huge majority of your energy, we're talking over half, is just for your basal metabolism. Physical activity is a smaller chunk, and that last little sliver, about 10%, that's the energy it takes just to digest your food. Kind of wild, right?
So that biggest piece of the pie, basal metabolism, what is that? It's the energy your body burns just to keep the lights on. It's for breathing, for pumping blood, for your brain to function. You can think of it like your car's engine when it's idling. It's the bare minimum energy you need just to, well, exist. Okay, so now that we get the whole energy budget thing, let's start filling up our toolkit. Now we're going to get practical and look at the actual methods you can use to find a target number for yourself.
Now, there is no single, universally correct formula. Instead, there are a bunch of different methods that have been developed over the years. The best way to look at them is like having different tools in a toolbox. You know, a hammer and a wrench do different things, but they both help you build the same thing. It's kind of like that.
And this table right here shows you exactly what I mean. We've got the same person, a 5'4" male. Tannhäuser method gives us 126 pounds. The Ador-Denizio method, which is used a lot in clinical settings, comes out a bit higher at 136 pounds. Then you've got the NDIP formula, landing right in the middle at 128. See? The point isn't that one is right and the others are wrong. It's that they all point to a healthy range, in this case, somewhere between the high 120s and mid 130s.
Another really common tool you've probably heard of is the body mass index, or BMI. Now, BMI doesn't tell you your ideal weight. It's more of a screening tool. It uses a simple formula with your height and weight to give you a score, which then tells you if you fall into a healthy weight category.
So, let's say you've used these tools and you have a target weight range in mind. Great, but now what? The next step is to figure out how much fuel, how many calories your body actually needs every day to maintain that weight. We need to translate that weight number into an energy number.
And to figure that out, we can use something called the factorial method. I know, it sounds kind of complicated, but it's not, I promise. It's really just a way of adding up all those pieces of your daily energy budget that we looked at a minute ago.
It's just 3 simple steps. First, you calculate your basal energy needs. That's your body's idle mode. Second, you add in the energy you burn from physical activity. And third, you add that little bit for the thermogenic effect of food, which is just the energy used for digestion.
Let's run through a quick example. So for our subject, we start with their basal energy, the energy just to be alive at rest. For them, that's about 1,300 calories.
Okay, now we add the energy for their daily activities. They're moderately active, so we'll add another 862 calories on top of that.
And finally, we add that small cost for digestion. Let's tack on a final 130 calories for that.
You add it all together, and what do you get? A grand total of about 2,300 calories. So that's the estimated daily fuel this person needs to maintain their weight with their current lifestyle.
Now, I know we've thrown a lot of formulas and calculations at you. You might be thinking, okay, what's the one thing I really need to remember from all this? Well, it all comes down to one simple but really powerful idea.
And this is it, the principle of energy balance. It really is an equation this simple. The energy you put in your body from food has to equal the energy your body puts out through metabolism and all your activities.
When those two sides of the equation are matched up, your body weight stays stable and, hopefully, right in that desirable range. It's not magic, it's just physics, really. The fundamental law of energy applied to your body.
So if you take one thing away from our talk today, let it be this. It's not about finding one perfect magic number. It's about understanding this relationship, this balance between the energy you eat and the energy you use. That understanding is way more powerful than any calculator.
And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. Forget all the formulas for just a second. What does this idea of energy balance actually mean in your real day-to-day life? Because thinking about that, well, that's the first real step to taking control of your health.